Firstly, it's British. This is a biscuit. This is a scone. Like, where's the time gone? Now, I don't know how other people make their scones. I've never had to look. I've had the privilege to work in London's finest and cook for those that know their scones from their biscuits. If you're British and you don't know your own etiquette, it's pronounced scone, like gone. It's not scone, like bone, scone. Just because it sounds like it, don't make it posh. And don't listen to Jamie, who trusts the guy that puts chili jam in his egg fried rice. Point is, when my scones come out, the mops come out. There's one big secret I'm going to tell you before we start about making perfect scones. You don't overwork the dough. You can overwork your wife, your husband, your child, but you don't overwork a scone dough. It just simply won't forgive you.
Let's get boring out the way. Ingredients: plain sifted white flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, powdered sugar, lemon juice, double cream, whole milk, and frozen butter. You're going to grate it and keep it frozen. Finally, an egg for egg wash. Start by adding the flour and white powders, including the salt, into a bowl. Give it a good whisking to thoroughly combine. Add the frozen butter and get your claws ready. You want to swiftly and effectively rub the butter and the flour together until it resembles fine white sand. We're simply coating the flour grains in butter so that the texture stays short and the gluten don't develop. Optionally and highly recommended, place the flour and butter mix into the freezer for a few minutes. In a separate bowl, mix together the milk, cream and lemon juice. Whisk to combine. You could substitute this mix for buttercream if you want. Add the liquid to the dry mix and work lightly but swiftly. The aim is to just combine and not work the dough at all. Just before it completely comes together and a few bits of flour is still lurking around, now is a good time to add raisins or citrus zest if you want, by the way. Dump it onto a work surface and slightly start bringing the dough together by pressing and folding rather than kneading it. Bring it together into a roughly round disc or rectangle. It's okay if all the flour has not been taken up. Wrap it in plastic wrap and say hi to our friend Richard. As usual, don't call him names. I'm the one that has to sit with him afterwards. Let the dough rest in the fridge for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, prepare a baking sheet lined with a silicone baking mat or parchment paper. Turn your oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Make the egg wash by breaking an egg into a small bowl with 2 hands, if you're lucky enough to have them. Give it a whisk and add some milk if you want to. To cut the scones, we need a round pastry cutter. Use a fluted one if you want. Mine is 6 centimeters or 2.3 inches in diameter. Grab Richard from the fridge and say bye-bye. Press any loose pieces of dough into the main dough. Very gently flour the dough and surface. Scone dough should not look smooth, so stay with me here. Press the dough down a few times with a rolling pin and gently roll from the center to the outside. Fold the dough onto itself and gently roll out once more until it's about 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch thick. Grab your previously lined tray, round cutter and a small bowl of flour. It's to dip the cutter into. Cut out the scones. Place them onto your lined baking tray as soon as they're cut. You can see the flakiness already in the layers. Press the trimmings together gently and cut them out too. Brush the top of the scones with the egg wash you made. Pop into the oven for about 18 minutes or until golden brown in color. Take them out and let them cool a bit on a wire rack. They're best served slightly warm still with some butter. By the way, you don't cut scones. Simply break them open in half. If you did it right, the scone will show you the way. And if you're pushing the boat out, the old classic homemade clotted cream and strawberry jam. I have a recipe for both, so make sure to give them a go.
Okay, so we've made the perfect scones. Or if you want to call it scones, or if you want to call it biscuits, call it whatever you want. Who cares really? And if there's one thing you should take away from this, is remember this thing is British. And you don't like being overworked. Success is in diplomacy with this one.